The Lantern Corps, in my honest opinion, is what makes the DC universe truly so unique. The spectrums of emotions that essentially power the universe, these entities that have been around for billions of years, the Guardians who have attempted to shepherd these Lantern Corps throughout history, characters in the DC universe or in DC's history who have fallen to the darker Lantern Corps or have risen up and come back to the light of the good Lantern Corps. There is so much about them that, like I said, makes them truly unique and the DC universe really interesting. And over time, we have seen characters who aren't lanterns in the first place get their own ring. We've seen heroes and villains toy with a lantern ring all the time. We've seen Batman get it. We've seen Superman, Wonder Woman get it. We've seen The Flash get it. And we've seen some of their villains get one. So I'm going to do something a little bit different today. And I'm going to look at Batman's arguably, say, top 15 most popular or mainstream villains, and I'm going to categorize them by Lantern Corps. Not in any particular order, I'm just going to go through them and give you my opinion on what Lantern Corps I think they would best suit. Now, we could obviously say most Batman villains, or villains in general, would be yellow, because very often villains incite fear. But there are some villains here for Batman that aren't so simple. They're not so cut and dry, yet they scare people, or yet they scare other heroes when they go up against them. Yellow it is. No, a lot of these villains have a lot more going for them, and their personalities and emotional standpoints are a lot more complicated than meets the eye. So with that being said, the first character we're going to be starting with here is actually the most easiest one. It's Scarecrow. And what would Scarecrow be? Yellow. Fear. He was by far the easiest Batman villain to categorize in Lantern Corps. I don't really think I have to go into too much detail about that one. Next, we have Bane. I got two for Bane. I feel like he could have two different stories that would lead him down these paths. Number one would be the Yellow Lantern Corps, because obviously he does incite a bunch of fear. He is a scary guy, especially when he turns into the massive titan he can become. That's not something you're just gonna shoo away. You're obviously going to be scared. But beyond this idea of Bane inciting fear, I actually think an even more perfect Lantern Corps for him is green. Now, yes, I know green, blue, even Star Sapphire at times, these are the colors of good lanterns. But Bane has that willpower. He has that motivation. He never gives up. He keeps on going. He keeps driving forward. And that's usually what you look for in a Green Lantern. You have someone who's gonna uphold those ideas. That's why Hal is green. That's why John is green. Kyle is green. And I feel like Bane does have that emotional spectrum. Now, there's a conversation to be had, almost like Star Wars, Jedi and Sith. Would Bane be a dark Green Lantern, like a dark Jedi? Would he have the power of green, but use it as he sees fit? Still upholding that emotional spectrum, just not following through the guidelines of what it is to be a Green Lantern when it comes to protecting the universe. Next up is Joker, and this one was a little bit of a tough one because I wasn't exactly sure where he could go, considering he could literally go almost anywhere on the evil side of lantern emotions. Rage, fear, maybe even a little bit of selfishness in orange. He could fit in all areas. But in all honesty, I'm making him black. All Joker is death. There's really no emotion to the Joker that I would necessarily say fear is perfect for him or rage is perfect for him. You could maybe consider the ultraviolet core for Joker, where all of his deepest and darkest emotions come to the surface of who he truly is. I feel like all the evil emotions just come together within the Joker and lead him straight into being a Black Lantern. Alongside Joker comes Harley Quinn, and here's another character I have too. First of all, it could be Star Sapphire, love, considering how much she tends to love people. She has a long, outstanding history of loving the Joker and never getting anything in return, even though she does hold out this hope that one day she will obtain his true love. She has a history of loving Poison Ivy, and I'm sure there's a history of her loving other characters within DC's history. Star Sapphire would be a perfect fit for her. Another area you could go is a redemption route. You could lead her through the Indigo tribe, whereas if you have a compassionate bone in your body, then the compassionate route is the route Indigo's going to take you on. This is a tribe that's going to take some of the most evil people in the universe, and if chosen, they will lead you down a path of good. Harley Quinn could be that subject, considering in recent history, Harley Quinn isn't a flat-out villain anymore. She has been a reformed character. So Star Sapphire or the Indigo tribe, one or the other. Riddler is up next, and this was actually a character I struggled a little bit with. I didn't really know where I would put him, and I came to the conclusion that I think he would be orange. Enigma has this selfish nature to him, especially when it comes to emotional intelligence. He is the smartest person. Nobody can be better than him at particular things. He wants to be the sole ruler of intelligence. He wants to be the best of the best when it comes to brains. He can never let anybody have the upper hand on him, and when that happens, he sulks, cries like a child. He is a very selfish and almost petty-natured character, and I think orange would be a perfect fit for him. For Ra's al Ghul, this was another tough one. I wasn't exactly sure where I would put him. You could make a case for him being part of the Green Lantern Corps, considering he has a lot of determination and willpower. That's not where I would put him, though. I would place him in the Sinestro Corps. Just looking at the demeanor and the personality of Ra's al Ghul, I think fear is very attractive to him. I think he likes being feared by many, the people who follow him, the people who should be fearful of him, and even just regular people who may come across him. I think when you hear the name the League of Assassins or the League of Shadows, you do know to be fearful of that group. Ra's al Ghul has really grown his empire off of fear. Moving on to Clayface, I placed him in the Indigo tribe. I think this is a character who could 100% use a reform. Like I always say, Clayface tends to be this misunderstood villain, someone who is not in the situation he wants to be in. He never asked for this. He's just looking for a cure. At least there's quite often stories that make it that way. I think the Indigo tribe, not only teaching him compassion would be useful, but to teach him how to be okay with the abilities he has and to move forward and take life head on, considering you can't change everything. What's been done is done. Clayface needs a little bit of that support in his life. Killer Croc, I placed him in the Red Lantern Corps. He is just a massive raging beast who on a daily basis all he wants to do is feed. Emotions mean nothing to a man when you look the way Waylon Jones does. Also, Killer Croc would just look so awesome being part of a Red Lantern Corps, him wielding a ring, being covered in a red outfit, and just having gushes of blood pouring out of his mouth the way Atrocitus or Bleeze or any other Red Lantern character does. You could obviously make an argument for Killer Croc being in yellow, but I'm gonna go red. Poison Ivy is another character I'm gonna throw in the Star Sapphires for love, and there's two reasons. One, because of the particular people in her life she has come to love. Someone like Harley Quinn, or once again other characters in DC's history, but no one like the way she has loved Harley Quinn. And then two, her love for the planet, her love for the environment, her love for plants, her love for nature. Whereas she does do questionable things in her time as a villain, whereas she hasn't done the most ethical things either, her love is what stands out most than anything. And that's not saying she needs to be the most perfect hero now as a Star Sapphire, but she can definitely be some sort of anti-hero or villain. Penguin is up next, and for him, I placed him part of the Orange Lantern Corps. This is a guy who just cares about money. He wants to run Gotham City as he sees criminally fit. He just wants a powerhouse empire and to be rich. A guy like Cobblepot, the only thing he really understands is greed. For Two-Face, this was an interesting one. I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to go with him. At one point, I was thinking yellow. I was thinking rage. And that is actually a really good option, is the Red Lantern Corps for Two-Face. Especially because the Two-Face side of Harvey Dent is very rageful, very angry. Although both of them still operate off of the idea of fair, chance, 50-50. So what would be the perfect spot for Two-Face? It would be the Ultraviolet Core. The core in which your deepest, darkest, most hidden emotions come to the surface. So we could actually truly identify who Two-Face really is and what his emotions are, how he feels, what his end goals are. I feel like that would actually be a really entertaining story to truly see outside of his 50-50 nature. What is it that Harvey Dent Two-Face really wants? Who are they truly when they aren't being locked down by flipping a coin? Mr. Freeze, I have another couple of interesting options here because I always relate Clayface and Mr. Freeze together. They're two villains who, in a way, did not ask for what has happened to them. They're not villains just to be crude, evil, and vile. They're working towards a purpose, a cure. Given a second chance, a second opportunity, I don't think Freeze would be a bad guy. He's going to be a Green Lantern or a Blue Lantern, and the reason why I say this is because his determination and willpower to keep moving forward, to find that cure not just for himself, but for Nora. And then for Blue, not just because he's blue in nature, but the idea that he holds this hope. He has this hope that one day he will cure himself and his wife. One day he will be able to live the rest of his life with Nora without needing to worry about some of the terrible things he's had to do to get to this point. It's always been my opinion that Mr. Freeze deserves better than the hand he's been dealt, and becoming a Green or a Blue Lantern would definitely help that. For Mad Hatter, he also has two. I have him at either a Yellow Lantern ring or the Indigo Tribe. For Yellow, it's obvious. That little dude's scary, and definitely towards his Alice's, he inspires the most treacherous type of fear there is, outside of someone like Scarecrow, who's literally giving you your greatest fear. Then for the Indigo Tribe, I feel like he could be taught the compassion of what he has truly done to some of these women who he views as Alice, his addiction to finding the perfect girl. I feel like Mad Hatter could definitely benefit from the Indigo Tribe to really realize, whoa, what I've been doing is sadistic and wrong, and I need to do better. But inherently, the character, I think, would simply be Yellow. I'm also going to give you one for Catwoman, even though nowadays I think she is much more of an anti-hero, someone who actually belongs in the Bat family today. But just looking at Catwoman as when she was a villain, I'm going to give her the role of an Orange Ring. I think she is just greed. She's selfish. She only thinks about herself. She's a thief. She robs the rich, doesn't necessarily give to the poor, she gives to herself. A lot of what Catwoman used to be was me, me, me. I will just kind of throw this in here. Her reversal to being more of a hero, I think she could actually go from being an Orange Ring Lantern to maybe a Blue Ring. Catwoman being blue is someone realizing that there's always hope to change your destructive ways. I feel like that would actually be a really interesting character arc if there was a story where everybody got lantern rings. And then last for this video, but certainly not least, it's going to be Hugo Strange. And this is a character as well I've given yellow. I just feel once again, this guy's personality, the character he is, just screams fear. I'm not going to go into too much detail about Hugo Strange because I don't necessarily think he needs all that detail. I just think fear is the most obvious option for Hugo Strange. I don't see any other lantern ring being an option for him. So there it is, everyone. Batman villains listed amongst different lantern corps. So now leave in the comments below, what do you think? What villains here would you maybe place differently, or do you agree with me? I know there are other Batman villains I didn't get to. I didn't want to make this video too long. So if there's a Batman villain you're thinking about that I didn't place here, feel free to comment that character and let me know what lantern corps you think they would be part of. If you want me to do this again, I can certainly scrounge up some more Batman villains, or maybe do it for other superhero characters like Superman villains or whoever else. But with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.